So what I've got here are the components from my Yamaha 200, that's the CS5 model, front forks, and I bought the bike as a fully restored motorcycle, and the thing about that is, unfortunately, I bought it in a fit of excitement when this came up for sale on eBay. It was a model I've been after for a while. It was a 1 year only production, 1972, and everything looked fine, but you know, you only see things when you get them bought, sadly, and maybe stupidly I bought it sight unseen, but it was supposedly from a reputable restorer, private guy, but supposed to be an expert. But you start to wonder. The main thing, the problem with these forks was he'd gone to all the trouble of having, you know, beautiful finish done on these bottom halves of the forks, but when I actually examined the fork stanchions themselves, they were very rusty on the back that you couldn't see on the photograph he supplied. And although he'd replaced the oil seals, not these ones, these are new ones, he'd replaced the oil seals, they were just, you know, leaking like a sieve as soon as you press the forks down, because the forks were so pitted that it damages the seals. So I've had to have those re-chromed, and in the process of doing that we found that the legs were actually bent as well. So you'd think, why would you rebuild it in that condition? There can only be one answer: cost. But anyway, that being said, these are the bits to go back together. I do have to take the air seal out of this one first, and all I'm going to do is punch it out from the bottom. I'm just going to put this into some hot water just to make it expand a bit, because although these seals are essentially rubber with a metal band in them, they do take a bit of getting out. So that's my next job. The other fiddly thing with these is the ring here that goes around the top of the leg. They're an absolute pig to get off, and likewise a pig to get back on again. I'm really concerned about scratching my new chrome, so I've actually just chamfered off this edge on the inside just so it doesn't scratch, and I'm going to heat this up a little bit with a blowtorch just to get it a bit more malleable than it is, and then get that to slide on the end of the tube and put it back up, and then I'll show you the process of me reassembling the forks. So here we go with that. So I've better not touch that. I've heated this up in boiling water, and just the metal part I hasten to add, and the actual seals are pushed in straight forward with a heat proof glove. I've just basically pushed them into that bit there. I'm going to get a socket that fits on the inside of that and tap them in down to their correct position on the inside. So that's fairly straightforward, and that other one's to do yet. This is still cold, although having said that, yeah, that pushes in reasonably well. But I'll probably just heat that up just to ease it in again as well. As it happens, I happen to have a big washer which fits perfectly on there, and because this hammer end engineering hammer actually fits on the inside of that, I shall just tap it in with that. And in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I prepared earlier. Now, to anybody who's watching outside the UK, you'll have absolutely no idea what that reference is, but it was from a children's television programme where they only sort of show you half the job done. So the first thing is to put the spacer into the tube. Then you need to put the spring in. As you'll notice, there's actually a spring retainer just there. It's important that that goes in so that it doesn't force the spacer open, and they're about £12 if you can find one. They certainly were in the UK. So the next thing is to get that assembly into the bottom tube. That's all been lubed up. And these springs can be a bit fiddly to get in. No, it's not going to want to go in. So just wait with me a few seconds while I fiddle this in. Right, that's gone in. Next thing is the collar. Ooh, it feels tight. Oh, that's it. Okay, nice and smooth now. And that will go into that bottom part again. The next part is to put the threaded end here at the bottom, slides on. These can be a little bit fiddly to get on because they're quite tight. Right, that's gone on. So I've got the collar on now, the seal's in this end. This just has to go down and screw on here. What I use just to screw it on with, you can use a chain wrench or a filter removal tool. I've got this tool that is like a strong rubber thing, and it winds this on quite easily. So all I've got to do is just screw this on, and the very final thing is to put the cap on, dust cap, and that's job done essentially, and they're ready for installation back in the bike. So it took a bit of persuading to get on, but it's on now, so that ring's on. Yes, and the seal's on the top. Alfie! Where's he? Oh, he's come out here. Come on, you. Come on, Alfie. Was he? Was he having a nice time? Where was he?
You just want a post, don't you?
First of all, you have the bottom yoke. This piece here, I've got this ring on now. That's going to go into there. So that's the first thing that goes in. It's all been lubed up. Now these little rings, they are a pig. Sometimes they don't want to go in here. So excuse me while I fiddle about getting that in. Right. Well, it went in dead straightforwardly. So the next thing is the spring, which I've forgotten. Start again. Oh, part 2. Put the spring in. The spring actually has a retaining collar on the top, which are no longer available, so if you lose that, you're stuffed. I saw one on eBay, it was about £15, and it's essentially a washer with a dished bit on it. So that's the first thing. Well, you can put it in that way. Oh, again, forgot the spacer. So the spacer goes in, and the spring.